What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you saw the title in the thumbnail. We are talking about the first release in the Basileus collection from Zaharoff, their first Prive fragrance. This is Precious Treasure. Has a very specific presentation to it, a very specific note that is centrally focused for the formula that's indigenous to Namibia and Africa. They are numbered, they are limited. As you can see, we have number 7 out of 500. 100 of them are going abroad, so in the North American market there's 400 available, and it is a one-time run kind of thing, so that means there's not going to be samples and stuff like that like there usually is. So this fragrance was initially created about 3.5 years ago and was never modified. Claude created it from scratch. It is not part of the Signature Pour Homme DNA. So I've been able to experience it for a long time now, and we're going to dive into this one. This one's interesting. This one's a very unique wearing experience, a very unique fragrance overall. So stay tuned. So before we dive into it, yes, George Zaharoff is my best friend. Obviously, there is natural bias. So again, I'm very well educated on this. Literally within the last week, I sat on the phone for about 30 to 40 minutes with Claude Deer, who perfumed this, with him re-educating me, because it's been a few years since he explained it to me, on how he balanced and worked this formula so it can behave the way it does, the percentages of certain oils and such. The point being, I'm probably the best person to do this here today to launch this fragrance. So that's usually the case because I'm afforded the opportunity to have so much experience through the testing process. So again, take what I say with a grain of salt. Again, there's not going to be samples, so it's not something where I can typically say, sample first. So, try to make the most well-educated decision if you're going to take the risk of a blind buy here. Because for as phenomenal as I feel it is, and many others that have tried it over the years have, there's no guarantee that you will feel the same way. So with that said, let's dive into this presentation because it's pretty involved. So first things first, this is the outer box. As you can see, number 7 of 500 is the random number that George had sent me. Has the Zaharoff life print going all around. It is the magnetic flip top type, and as soon as you open it, you're greeted with a dust bag. Zaharoff Basileus collection. It does wrap all around into the chest, and when you pull this out and pull the chest out, which we'll dive into that in a second, there's literature on the bottom that we'll go ahead and grab here now. Has a picture of the bottle, which has a Byzantine script that says Zaharoff. This is called Precious Treasure, and it is George telling a story. This is an artistic storytelling fragrance. And we'll just flip through it real quick for you guys to see. It is centrally focused around the Bushman candle note. That is what it looks like. So it, by nature, this is actually like the base and stem of a flower. It is a flower, technically, and it's called the Bushman candle. I understand, kind of strange. And it naturally has a waxy coating to it, which is actually found in the essential oil that's created from it. It's a very ambery, rich, woody type of aroma with a waxy texture to it, is what this particular essential oil is going to smell like. And he tells you the story as it does come through Mon here throughout. From the indigenous women, which George did capture some footage of them harvesting it. Mother of pearl inlays, which we'll take a look at on the chest here in just a little bit. Again, it would take a bit longer to read this entire setup of literature, but it does come with a full story for you to read up on everything, including the box of the chest. It's all copper wire. It is walnut brushed with olive oil, wood burned, hand etched, mother of pearl inlays all over the place. Here you have your note breakdown, which I'll put on screen in just a little bit, and then George's version of the phoenix rising from the ashes on top of the chest. It's a very involved presentation. This is the ladies that actually harvested in Namibia holding the box and bottle. I say box because it's so easy to say box. This is the bottle leaning up against the Bushman candle, which is the focused note here once again. And George signs all of them. Here's to big dreams. It is indeed numbered as well. So we'll put that to the side. Quick look. So the presentation portion of this video is going to take a little longer than usual because there's a lot. There's a lot going on here. Again, you have the custom dust bag microfiber. It is slotted to where you can put the chest in it as well. So that is designed to protect it, because, and it's going to have a little bit of discoloration come off on it, as you saw when I opened it, because it is coated in olive oil and wood burn. This is all copper wire. This was hand etched, by the way, with a Dremel tool by hand. The hinging setup, all copper wire. Everything you see that's gold is actually copper. Zaharoff Phoenix rising from the ashes, and this is all hand set mother of pearl inlays that's in the back and both sides. On the bottom it's numbered as well, as you can see, number 7 to 500. And when we open it, you are greeted with the custom cloth with the Byzantine print, as well as the bottle, which does come with a protectant that I actually already removed. But let's finish taking a look at this chest with the velvet lining, and this is actual genuine velvet, not felt, and it fits the bottle perfectly. This is all handmade right outside of Turkey. I forgot exactly where George had said, but there's only 500 of these that will be in existence. So, and then we take a look at the bottle. That is his custom mold, but he did change things up. Here you see it's a piano black finish. The Zaharoff Byzantine inscription filled in gold. Sticker on the bottom, again etched with the number on the bottom. Zaharoff Prive Precious Treasure, 120 ml. Zaharoff on top. The cap holds, but it doesn't click into place exactly like the original cap does, so I would not, I mean, you can pick it up from it, but you never know, just in case. Better safe than sorry with his usual atomizer and all that good stuff. All right, now that we've gotten through that, let's talk about this scent. So when you spray this one, it's a very mass appealing type fragrance. The way I would categorize the olfactive profile is an aromatic amber musk. It's very woodsy. It's hard for me to leave the word wood or woody out of this. I just don't want to make it too wordy with how I would categorize it, because there's a litany of woody nuances and notes as well. But it's mainly aromatic, ambery, and musky. The opening is full of bright pepper. The cardamom here from Guatemala gives a little bit of that slight bitter feel. It's because it's a natural Guatemalan cardamom. It's not the synthetic type. That's another essential oil. And you have the Sichuan pepper and this specific black pepper. It's kind of a wispy incense, fresh pepper smell, because you do have olibanum here, so you do have some incense, but it's more on the wispy, airy side. This fragrance, the wearing experience, is very interesting, because we'll discuss in great detail about performance with this one, and it's going to be for most people. It's not just for me. This is going to be most people's experience, because it's just the way the fragrance was created. It wears very light, fluffy, and airy, but has insane longevity and sillage to it. There is some nose fatigue that comes with it, because it is a high-level molecule fragrance like Orchinox, which is ever so present from start to finish, which is in the base. A little bit of Orchinox was an Evening Mystique, my last release in the Zed Creators with Zaharoff. It is of the Ambroxan family, but it's more of the amber side of Ambroxan. Lauranox is in here as well, which is more of a musk. You have a clean skin musk. And in the Bushman Candle, the main note here, which a little bit of that was in Justin's last fragrance, Second Soul. Not at the concentration it is here. It's a centrally focused note here. The oil for this is the most expensive George has ever purchased. Claude expressed to me what he felt George should have charged in the $400 to $500 range for this. This is $295, by the way. It's the most expensive fragrance George has ever had. And in someone else's hands, this would not be $295. That I can absolutely guarantee you would be the case. It would be much more expensive than this. So again, it's pricey. It's limited. You can't sample it. Be mindful here, guys. Make sure you absolutely have to have it. It's only for the most diehard of Zaharoff fans is basically how I would say it. So back to the profile. I'm kind of veering, and I apologize for that. But again, a wispy, smoky, fresh pepper. And then I don't get a lot of the florals, but you do get cedar, you do get sandalwood, but you get this ambery tone. And the waxiness I speak of from the Bushman Candle essential oil itself is not the waxy type of, like, when you think designer iris, it's not that lipstick type of wax smell that comes with iris. So I want to make sure I'm very clear. Don't think that. Actual balled up wax like the scent of actual wax, candle wax type of smell. It has a lightness of that, the entirety, start to finish, of this fragrance. It's not overwhelming. It's not loads of it. It's not a bomb, but it's noticeable. When you smell this, had I not told you this, when you smell it, you're like, what is that? Something? What is that? Some would figure it out, but it's not the most easy thing to be like, oh, that's wax, right? Unless it's listed as wax, which it's not listed. This is just a characteristic, a natural characteristic of the Bushman candle. And it's very ambery. Again, the Orchinox being on the ambery side of Ambroxan, the Bushman candle itself having an ambery tone to it, are the two most prominent notes here. And you're going to smell them from start to finish. That pepper does tone down. You get the lightest of vanilla sweetness here. It is not a sweet fragrance, but it's very, very well balanced. This is of the crowd-pleasing, mass-appealing type. This stuff is really easy to like. It's very modern, man. Anybody familiar with Zaharoff Signature Pour Homme and several of the releases, the Royale X's of the world, Noir, and so on, these very gentlemanly type profiles, old world style brought into the modern day, is kind of a lot of what goes on here with these profiles for the Signature Pour Homme DNA, which is completely different from this. This is a completely from scratch, not derived of the Signature Pour Homme DNA profile. So this is more modern, man, because it does have Mon's specific synthetic molecules in it, but it's high quality synthetics here, which, for those of you unfamiliar, some of the most expensive fragrances you've ever smelled are still riddled with synthetics. They're just of a higher quality, so they can smell a bit more natural. Whereas this, you have a high percentage of the Orchinox and the Laurinox here as well, which I don't know if the Laurinox is listed, but I do know it is in there based on Claude's explanation to me. As well as you have a high percentage of the essential oils, because several of these oils, such as the pepper, such as the bourbon, because it's a Timur pepper from Nepal, for example, the cardamom, the star jasmine, and the wild freesia, that adds a little bit of the freshness to it. It's not a real flowery smell. I wouldn't even distinctively categorize a white floral smell specifically. It just adds the overall freshness of this fragrance. And it's not very mossy. It's not loaded with tonka bean. Like I said, you get some vanilla smell, but just a little bit in the deeper dry down. Ebony wood, sandalwood doesn't really make it all that creamy, but you get a woody nuance to go with the cedar, and you get a woody nuance that lightly comes from the Bushman candle as well. So it's a lot to explain, I understand, because even though it does have some look to complexity, it's really not as complex of a fragrance as I'm making it out to be. It's just trying to give as much information as I can. I don't want to leave anything out when describing it. Overall, if I had to simplify it based on accords, it's very fresh peppered spice, ambery aromatic, very, very bright and fluffy, soft and woodsy, ambery throughout, but not too warm of an amber, but ambery throughout with a soft, sweet, musky smell with that amber as it dries. Now, I've mentioned the Orchinox being of the Ambroxan family. It is not some Ambroxan bomb. It doesn't smell like Sauvage. As somebody asked me yesterday, is it relatable to Y and Bleu de Chanel? No. In essence of how you would wear them, yes. In relation to scent profile and how it smells, no. There's definitely levels, big time gaps in quality smell of natural synthetics, and that even goes with Ambroxan, because it is not a metallic shower gel like smell that you get from cheaper Ambroxan from designers and such. That's very attractive but headache inducing for some. If I never told you it was of the Ambroxan family, or if you didn't know that about Orchinox, not too many people would ever think that it is actually derived from, it's an Ambroxan aroma molecule. So there's that. It smells beautiful, and I am very eager to get into the performance section because this is going to excite a lot of people. So let's dive into performance. It's on you till you take it off. This is 12 plus hours in longevity, and it wears very light and airy, and it lasts like a beast, and it projects like a beast, and it has the sillage of a beast. The projection here is it's absurd. It really is. We're talking 4+ hours of non-stop strength. And I have to put the plus because I don't want to set the expectation of 8 hours for you. But it pretty much doesn't lose strength till like half of the life of the fragrance. And even then, it doesn't lose strength greatly. It's the way Claude balanced it with these aroma molecules and these essential oils. It's the specific way it was created and balanced and blended, and the way these certain molecules act in a fragrance that allows it to wear the way it wears. I would put the projection here in moderate to heavy. If you're moderate with the sprays, it'll be a bit more bearable. If you go heavy with the sprays, you're going to just experience a level of nose fatigue anyway. It'll never truly overwhelm you. You'll never feel like it's cloying or that it's too much. You won't choke yourself out because your nose will just desensitize to it a bit. But you can fill every room you go in. Your sillage will linger. The sillage is on the moderate to heavy side as well. And when you smell it up close, you might not feel that way because it's actually stronger. And this is per experience, it's stronger to smell on yourself when you're not going directly to it. Like if you spray your forearms, which I have it, a spray on each. That's literally all I'm wearing, a spray on each forearm right now. It does plenty with 2 to 3 sprays. I wore 3 sprays yesterday, sprayed at 8 in the morning. When I took my shower that evening, it was still there. I clocked it at 13 hours yesterday before I took a shower, and it still was not a faint skin scent. It's impressive. It is impressive. It's light and fluffy. Nose fatigue's a very real issue that you probably will experience. Most will experience a certain level of it. Some may go completely blind to it. I don't go completely blind to it, but it is noticeable that it seems the more I get up on it, the weaker it becomes to me. The more I leave it alone and let it find me, it hangs out with me the whole time. It trails, it lasts, it pushes off the skin. It's a performance whore's dream. So, that's my thoughts, feelings, and experience on Zaharoff's first Basileus collection release, Zaharoff Prive Precious Treasure. Precious Treasure, fun fact, was the code name that Claude placed on the lab sample when he created it, and George fell in love with the name, so he got the name, secured the name from Mon, and that is why it is called Precious Treasure. This is a very special fragrance because the wearability is signature scent level. So it's going to be good for every situation, literally every climate, every season, dressed up, dressed down. It will work, and it will work well. For some of you have been paying attention over the last couple of years of my live streams. I've always teased George's best fragrance hasn't even come out yet because this has been in the works for over 3 years. This is George's best fragrance. And I know some of you are going to ask, oh, is it a 10 like Seraphine Blue? For a lot of people, it's going to be. And the only reason I even rated this one is because this is of my personality specifically. And based on the coastline and living at the beach, I just wear the hell out of this. I'm wearing I'm 3 days strong so far on this since the bottle came in. I'm going to wear this just as much. Which is unfortunate because I only have the 120 ml of it. So keep that in mind. But it is a special experience. It is that good. It is going to be a lot of people's favorite from Zaharoff. And the best part is you will get a lot of wear out of it because I just can't imagine anybody deeming it not good for this situation or that situation. So thank you guys for watching. I know this was a long video. There was a lot to cover. This is probably the longest individual review video I've ever done. Links down below if you want to check it out. There's no discounts. There's no pre-sale price. It's ready to ship. When they're gone kind of thing because it is an extremely limited release that is extremely involved with cost for presentation and the most expensive oils George has ever bought. So the upfront per bottle cost on this, you guys probably wouldn't believe. George is not making a killing on these fragrances. This is more about the storytelling and art side of it. He really went all in on this. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.